Hello everyone. My name is Farid. I'm from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I'm going to talk about how to network in Sweden, and I'll start that with telling you a little bit about my own life and my own story in the past 2-3 years. Well, before coming to Sweden and coming to Chalmers, I was the youngest technical member of a national IT project. I was also a lecturer, a consultant, a researcher, and so on. So I was somebody. Then I came to Sweden, and except the first few weeks that I was busy looking for accommodation and was getting all these cultural shocks, and I was also half the time distracted by seeing all of these pretty girls. Afterwards, I realized something, and that was, I was nobody. I had no connections, I had no network, I didn't know anyone except a few classmates. So I started interacting with the locals, with Swedes. At the beginning, there were a lot of challenges. I was coming from a country where people basically made friends on the bus, going from one stop to the next. Now I came here and I found it that I could have a better relationship with my computer compared to the relationship I can have with Swedes. So I had to go through a lot of troubles, and I made a ton of mistakes. I had a lot of failures. I made a fool of myself several times. I sometimes make a fool of myself now too. But ever since, I've had considerable success, and I think I've got the hang of Swedes to a great extent. I've had the privilege of meeting a diverse range of people: students, engineers, project managers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, artists, directors, actors, some big chiefs like vice presidents of Chalmers, Volvo, senior vice president of SKF, former president of IKEA, Europe and North America, and even politicians like a European Parliament member who's a friend. So here I am to share my story, the lessons I have learned with you, because one thing I realized is that international students tend to, they try to communicate with Swedes, but they find it quite hard, and so they get disappointed, and then they create these, they isolate, they create these islands. So basically we have two islands, the islands of Swedes and the islands of international students or foreigners in general. And then there is a bridge between these two islands, and sometimes there are a couple of people going from this island to the next one, or from this island to this one. My mission, one of my missions, is to make this bridge more populated. I don't promise, I don't claim that I know all the answers, just a place to start. Okay, cracking the shell. Why have I named my talk Cracking the Shell? Because I think human beings are like an egg. The tasty part, the real person, is inside this egg. It's the yellow part, it's the yolk. And this yolk is surrounded by a shell. And I think this shell represents the communication barriers or barriers. And in order to get to the real person, to create a connection with them, we have to break, we have to crack this shell. Now, for some people, this shell is quite thin. So basically, you can press the egg and it will break. For some other people, it's thicker. So it takes some effort. It takes some thinking. Maybe a different way of looking at it, using other tools, using other shortcuts. For Swedes, it seems to be a little thicker than most. Let's see how we can crack this shell. Does networking really matter? I know you have heard about networking, you need to network, you need to create a network, but does it really matter, or it's just a buzzword or a hype? Well, From the local Veresti, your favorite newspaper or website, the Swedish job market is predominantly a networking job market, which means the people who want to hire you should either know you personally or they should know you through a connection. That is, there's someone between you. More than 70% of jobs in Sweden are given out, are handed out through networks. More than 70%. I suggest that you tattoo this on your palm to see it every time. So basically, if you don't have a network, you're competing for only 30%. And if you don't know Swedish, you're competing for probably 2-3% with hundreds of other English speakers throughout the world. I suggest that you take a pen and a piece of paper because you might need to take some notes. First of all, we should start with mindsets and attitudes. This is key. I know you're engineers and you love techniques and tools, but mindsets are the basis for the tools and techniques. Before judging anyone, imagine yourself in their shoes and walk a few steps to realize what their situation is like. An interesting quote from Gandhi: "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." I don't think we can usually change other people. We can convince other people that they have the capacity to change or that they deserve to change, but we usually can't change them. The only person we have full control over is ourselves. So if you want to create a network, you can't start with them. That would be much harder. You should start with yourself. Networking is an investment, not a nuisance. It's not annoying, it's an investment. Think about it. Do you want to look for a master thesis or a job just by making a few phone calls? Or do you want to send out 100 applications to get one? Either you invest this time now, or you will invest it later on with lots of stress. Networking is most effective when you don't need anything from the other person. Need makes you weak. Just think about it. The people you make friends with, because networking is basically making friends, but mostly professional friends. The people you make friends with are the ones who don't want anything from you. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, Swedes are not perfect. We all have our own flaws and our own positive points. Now it's your choice, whether you focus on the negative points and complain about the negative points, or you focus on the positive points to make the job and life easier for yourself. Think and act win-win. Think about what can you benefit, what kind of benefit you can add to other people's life before you expect anything from that. Some quick tips on doing that. Can be quite simple. Promote or recommend other people. Find projects or jobs for other people. If you see a job vacancy and you immediately remember a friend who might be interested, forward it to them. Compliment them. If you can give specific, legitimate compliments to people, that's a good thing. But most people can't do that. I can't do it really well. So I prefer to compliment people behind their back, to their friends or to their network, to promote them. Offer help, but don't push. Tell them that you can help, but don't push them. Let them come to you if they need help. Improve yourself to become more valuable and helpful to others. This is my favorite. Make yourself so valuable that 5 minutes of your time can be worth hours of other people's time. It doesn't have to be complicated. An interesting conversation can be win-win. Not everyone wants jobs or money. Listening to other people can be win-win. Swedology. Let's learn a little bit about Swedes. just a disclaimer, I'm going to make lots of generalizations, so there are exceptions. Why do they most seem aloof, quiet, shy, introverted, non-social? These are labels that we place on Swedes, and to a large extent they are true. But there is an evolutionary reason for that, and that is their culture has adapted to the climate. This is a very interesting book. I'm going to talk about it a little more. The harsh climate turned the Swedish Vikings into tough hunters who prefer to stay home and rest instead of going out and socializing with their neighbors. And usually there weren't that many neighbors around. And even when you look at it right now, it's almost the same thing. It's so cold that you can't leave your place. And there are not that many, except maybe a couple of cities. The rest of the cities are just like wide between. So there's a good reason for them to become introverts. And for all their foreign language skills, very good speakers of languages, especially Swedish women, Swedes don't have any body language. Body language is 80% of communication. And about, I think, 14% is your tonality, and only 5-6% is the actual words that come out of mouth. So if you're walking, if you're standing like this, and no movement, and no movement, well, what do you expect? This is pretty natural. That's why they have this ha syndrome, because they don't understand each other, and they say, huh, what's up? For a while I thought Bosaro was like half of the language. They used it 50% of the time. Oh, this is the question that I kept getting at the beginning of my interaction. And there was, so how long are you staying? When I met students outside the campus. And at the beginning it was like, yeah, okay, I'm staying for 1 year, 2 years, blah, blah. And later on, I started like giving them a little twisted answer, because this question came up all the time. It's pretty good here, so I'm planning on staying for a long time. But it was just until recently that I realized that they ask this question outside. If you're in campus, they know you're a student and you're going to leave in a year or two. Outside the campus, if you meet them, they ask this because they want to know whether you are worth investing in. Nothing personal. I tell you why. They want to hang out with you, create a relationship with you, have a good time with you, invest time in you. And then in a year or two, you might leave and never come back. That will break their heart. And they don't want to take that risk. Look, we're not talking about the most risk-taking nation on the planet. There's a reason they have the safest car in the world. But when I started learning some Swedish, this question stopped. Is it bad to be an introvert? Society is looking down on introverts. It's all about, yeah, you need to be talkative, extrovert, going out, social. You need to be cool, life of the party. Introverts can also be life of the party, but not for long. Let's learn a little bit about introverts. Very interesting articles. Write them down and read these two articles. Very interesting. Top 5 things every extrovert should know about introverts. If you're not an extrovert, then you are in trouble in another way that I will discuss later. And this is very interesting from Forbes. Why introverts can make the best leaders. Examples of introverts: Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, the richest man in the world. Perhaps Barack Obama is an introvert. They keep excitement and feelings with themselves. You need to create this connection, to dig it out, to get them talking about what they feel. Because if you're just talking about superficial stuff, there's no connection or relationship. Think before they talk. And they're also good listeners. Could this be the reason that Swedish men are typically good husbands?
They prefer deep conversations versus superficial small talk. Like, for example, if there's a football match, small talk could be, oh, that judge was a jerk. That would be kind of small talk. But deep conversation can be like discussing and analyzing the tactics used by that particular coach in the second half of the game. This is deep conversation. If that's their favorite topic, they really like this. They prefer deeper relationships, not superficial relationships. So it takes time. And they're usually better at writing. They like to write a lot and read a lot. They like to socialize, but less frequently. Could this be the reason that they party hard at the weekend and like the rest of the week, the streets are dead silent? Perhaps. So they need some time to rest. In nature loving. Yeah, they should be alone in nature and enjoy it. They need time to recharge. They are calm and slow. There is a difference between shy and introverts. Don't confuse them. Introverts is a choice. They choose not to socialize every day. Shy is not a choice. They don't choose. They can't. But of course, some introverts are also shy. Learn more. Amazing book. Get this book. 52 crowns. It's just like less than the price of 2 baguettes. It's also very entertaining to read. I have it here. Very entertaining. You can read about the taboos in Swedish culture, behavior, character, Swedish women, sense of humor, eating and drinking, culture, that's right. Crime and punishment, deafness, language, lots of things. Very, very entertaining book, written by a group of Swedes. Suidology, search for Suidology on the local.se. Google how to talk to introverts. If you are an introvert yourself, you're in trouble. Because you won't socialize, they won't socialize, and so there's nothing happening here. So maybe you need to read on how to network, but for introverts, how introverts can network. There are some very interesting tips if you Google this article. Get out there and experiment, of course. Don't get too much into theory. Nothing beats experiment. Okay, the key to getting to know Swedes, group activities. They love group activities. They're doing everything in groups. They decide in groups. That's why they have so many meetings. Swedes normally get to know each other by doing things together. This is also interesting from this student handbook. Read it, this is also interesting. Join as many groups as you can. But not all in 1 month, but gradually. You can join a church even if you're not Christian or religious. It doesn't matter. Just join to meet new people. Join a sports club, join a music club, student union groups. They have more than 130 groups and committees and associations. Find one. There is, for example, Chalmers, it's not clear there. Chalmers Students of Sustainability, I've recently joined. I joined Destination Asia, which was between Chalmers and Handels, and through this group I could meet the senior vice president of SKF. Very interesting experience. Can be professional groups, like young entrepreneurs of Sweden, if you have entrepreneurship tendencies. Conferences, my favorite. They can be academic. It's a group activity anyway. It can be academic or industrial. I've been mostly in academic conferences. There are lots of people coming, people who have jobs, and of course some students. It's a great opportunity to learn the cutting edge in your field, and great opportunity to network. And it's group activity. But it's expensive for students. So you need to be smart and volunteer to get in free. And you do some work, just moving some chairs, nothing. And then you get to attend all the talks and network. You can even get dinner, have lots of fun. But there's competition for volunteering because other people know about it. But you can still, again, you can be smart and use this website, my favorite website, watchthatpage.com. What this website does is that for those pages that do not have an RSS feed, you can add the address of, for example, Challenger's calendar to this website, and when something changes on the calendar, it will email you that change. So conferences usually announce themselves like a couple of months ahead or a couple of weeks ahead. So once it emails you, you learn about the conference, and then you can send an email to the organizer, express your interest, you're in. Attend your favorite talks. I love keynote talks because it's like the big cheese come to the keynote talks, and I always go to the big cheese first. And mingle. I used to hate mingling. It's me at the top, if you can see me. I have a big smile, cheesy smile on my face. How to mingle? Mindset, be comfortable with yourself. Just be yourself, have fun. Common mistake. I've seen student volunteers who go to mingling, and what they do is that they have a glass, a drink, whatever, and they're just standing somewhere. This is called wallflower. They're just standing somewhere, and they see everyone networking and making connections, and they're just talking to their fellow volunteers, like there are a couple of students, and they do nothing else. That's wallflower. Do not wallflower. Get involved. How do you do that? One of the things I do in conferences is that I sometimes go to the organizer or someone who's well connected and tell them, okay, these are my interests. Do you know anyone in the conference who has the same interests? And they say, okay, I know that guy, and that guy, and that guy. And I go to those guys first because it would be much easier to network with them. They have shared interests with me. Conversation opener. So if you see a couple of like groups of people standing, just walk up to them, smile, and pay attention to the speaker. You don't have to do anything. Just pay attention to the speaker. If you can make a comment, make a comment. One of the two openers I have another one too. This looks like an interesting conversation. Just walk up to them and say, this looks like an interesting conversation. You mind if I join in? Of course they don't mind, and I'm in. Or I might say, if you're just all Swedes and they're speaking Swedish, my Swedish has improved right now, but I'm not that much intellectually yet. So if there are a couple of Swedes, I would just walk up to them and say, you mind if I internationalize this conversation? They usually laugh, and I'm in. I have another opener that I'm not going to tell you. I need it for myself. In the middle, be talkative for the first 5 minutes. You need to tattoo this on your palm again, along with the 70%. For the first 5 minutes, with every Swede, except, one in a million maybe, you need to be the one talking. Become talkative. Learn from your female friends. They're very good communicators. Become talkative. Preferably, do not ask too many questions, unless it's like a presenter or something. I prefer to make more statements, talk about my interests, about the conference, or other things. I might say, all right, so what brings you to this conference? And then they can talk about themselves. And end it. If you see the conversation doesn't take off after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then you need to eject. You need to leave the conversation. And it's just so simple. You just say, okay, it was a pleasure meeting you. And then you exchange contact information or business cards. I used to just exchange contact information. I didn't have a business card until a couple of weeks ago when I was at a book release party of a friend. And there was a lady there who asked for my business card. I was like, I don't have a business card. And she was like, oh my God, you need to have a business card. People here, it's important for people here. It makes you look professional. So, okay, I went online and I created a business card. So, to just give you an idea of what a business card is. Professional and experienced job seeker. No, definitely create a business card. It looks professional, it looks serious, high class. Propose. You need to take initiative, as Anna said. Actually, she stole my line, but anyway. You need to take initiative. You need to propose. You need to suggest. Like what? Take them out to... Why did I miss this? Okay. Take them out, I don't know, throw a movie night. Take them out to the movies. You need to start creating an event on Facebook and invite them. Send them text messages, whatever. Cook dinner together. One person, two people. Doesn't matter. A Swedish lab partner. It's so easy to get a Swedish lab partner. I'm just so surprised. You're sitting among them, okay? You turn to your right, the Swedish guy next to you, or there, not in our department at least. So the Swedish guy next to you, and you say, hi, my name is Farid. Would you like to be my lab partner? And you say, yes, fine. They say, no, they're lost. Turn to your left. Don't take it personal. Give them motivation. I tried to crowdsource or friend source part of this document, ask help from my friends. And I said, okay, what's your experience? Well, some of them gave me some good tips. But the majority gave me this tip. They told me, give them motivation. I was like, okay, so what is motivation? Yeah, like, this is motivation. I'm trying to promote cultural integration here. And just like, well, this is motivation. I said, okay, there are some pitfalls with alcohol. Like, one is unhealthy. Second, when they drink a little, their English breaks and they're uncomfortable with it. Third, the next day when they see you, they don't remember you, and it's just like a whole new connection. And fourth, it's expensive. And they told me, all right, doesn't matter. You can just get it from Tim Orange. Okay. Alright, so I just go through LinkedIn. When you get a contact info, try to add people on LinkedIn. How many of you are on LinkedIn? Raise your hands. Okay, that's like 50 people. What is the capacity here? 400? 400, huh? So that's like probably, I don't know, 200 people are not on LinkedIn here. Okay, I'm going to give you some tips on some reasons on why you need to lose your virginity to LinkedIn as soon as possible, even tonight. Okay, you know what LinkedIn is? It's like a Facebook for professional purposes. More than 80 million members, 400,000 members in Sweden. It's a good way to maintain and expand your network, and there are recruiters everywhere looking for people through connections to find people who are somehow related. Examples of this, let's see if I can zoom in. Well, I don't have much luck zooming. Alright. Totally. Okay. Alright, so I can zoom in because I don't have a mouse here. But just give you an overview. This is a great guy in Volvo. Some of you might recognize him from last year. So you can have all your professional experience and education, etc., on your LinkedIn profile, and you can have connections on the right, etc. And some interesting thing about LinkedIn, at the top you can see who has viewed your profile, so you can find out what kind of people your profile is attracting. At the bottom, you can see jobs that are coming to you from LinkedIn. Based on your profile information, LinkedIn brings you job vacancies. You can update your status. This is something I encourage people to do, and for a couple of reasons. One out of 8 employers in Sweden are Googling you. This is a good thing. Some people try to erase every trace of themselves on the internet, but I prefer let's use it. Show people you're really active by updating your status. Passive networking, when you're asleep, people are reading your status and your activity and they're learning about you. This creates comfort and trust, and they learn about you. And next time they see you, they have material for conversation. And you can attract recruiters and job offers through your status updates. It can be about books you're reading, articles you're reading, whatever conference you're attending. Of course, nothing about the hangover that you had yesterday. Here, you can get introduced on the right second line. You can get introduced through a connection. If you see someone who's interesting to you, if you have a connection, someone between you and them, you can get connected that way. You can leave recommendations for other people and get recommendations from other people, which is very powerful. This is interesting. Companies are represented on LinkedIn, and so what you can do, for example, here by reading, for example, IT has 8 new hires. It shows which direction the company is going to, so you can learn about them. And hires and departures, that's also interesting, because it shows which people, who has left the company. So if you're going to a job interview for that company, you can contact those people who have left the company and ask them about the well, why did you leave? Ask them about the company to gain more information. There are groups that you can join and have discussions and network. Okay, quick thing about Swedish, this is the last major point. My biggest mistake in the last 2 years of my life is, without doubt, postponing to learn Swedish. It's not just nice to want to learn Swedish, you must create a need to learn Swedish. It should become like air, like oxygen for you. It shows respect to people. There are different English fluency levels in Sweden. Swedish women tend to be better English speakers than Swedish men. Younger generation tend to be better English speakers than older generation. And it's the older generation who's going to hire. They get tired after speaking some English. They may not show it, they try to hide it. Well, they don't have that body language or tonality, so it's just in their head. They won't show it. You have no idea what you're missing out without knowing Swedish. Just compare the calendars of, let's say, Chalmers, the Swedish calendar and the English calendar. Then you will realize there is life in this city. There's lots of things happening in this city. But they're mostly in Swedish. I know study workload is driving you crazy, but try to get more productive, learn some accelerated learning skills, and free some time. How to learn Swedish faster? I'll just go through it quickly. From this book. Swedish consists of German words, which are arranged according to English grammar. This is almost 100% true. The grammar of Swedish is quite a joke. There's just a few things that are different. And the roller coaster inflection, this is something that you just need to keep repeating and hearing a lot and imitating Swedish to get it to learn. The language has a relatively small active vocabulary. This is a good thing. They don't have too many words, as many words as French or English. Good thing. Especially because you can focus, you can be smart. And instead of learning every possible word, like table or glass, that you just think about it. The words that some language classes teach, like glass, or table, how many times in the past 1 week you have used these words? Instead of learning those kinds of words, they are necessary, but not necessarily at the beginning of your learning. Focus on the most common Swedish words. Just Google most common Swedish words. This is the first hit. These 100 words constitute 60% of the language. They're repeated 60% of the time. And if you learn them through a Smart.fm, which takes you This is the world's sharpest learning tool, and it's an online and free, which takes you about 10 hours to master, that is, move the words into your long-term memory. Then you will learn a lot more words, just naturally. You will get a good kickstart. This is just 2 examples of the interface of smart.fm, most common Swedish word, so just Google it. On TV4play.se, this is one of my favorite TV shows. It has subtitles, so you can pause it and repeat after it, look up the new words and everything. And it's a comedy, so much fun. So is this one, comedy, so much fun. Let's start talking from day one. Don't wait for 6 months or 1 year to get a few words out. Don't just wait for your teacher to ask you a question. Get out there and speak with your broken Swedish. It doesn't matter. Have fun with it. If you want, remember to ask Swedes to correct you. Ask them specifically to correct you because they usually won't. And after they do that, thank them for doing it. And have fun with it. Start with your friends. Start with people, if you want to boost your confidence in Swedish speaking, start with people who are paid to be nice to you, like salespeople. One thing that happens when you start learning Swedish and trying to speak it is that people will switch, they will just control shift to English when they see that you can't speak Swedish very well. Right now, I usually ignore them. So it's like a funny conversation. They're speaking English, I'm speaking Swedish. And if they persist, I will just switch to my mother tongue. And so, we're waiting. Get language partners. This website is very interesting, like mocha.com. You can find language partners here who you can exchange your languages with each other. Språk Café, that is a coffee shop in Gothenburg. You can put up posters around Chalmers and say, okay, I'm Chinese, I speak Chinese, and I'm looking for someone who wants to learn Chinese and it teaches me Swedish in exchange. Couchsurfing community has language meets, the city library or other libraries may have language nights. Okay, just a quick thing about charm. Anna said most of it. She said 5 to 10 companies. I would say 3 to 5 companies. 5 to 10 I think is too much. Find your ideal companies. Well, if you have time for 5 to 10, why not? But if you don't have much time, pick 3 to 5 companies that are your ideal companies and research them, stalk them, spy them, get all the information you can, LinkedIn, your webpage, your employees, whatever, and then come up with some specific open-ended questions that is started with how, why, not with what. So that you can have enough material for 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes of conversation with them. Read the catalog, ask about the company culture, work-life balance. This is important for Swedes here. Become a host. Is there a host application? Hello? Is the host application? Is the host application still open for Shar?
Yeah, until Friday.
Alright, choose your favorite company and volunteer to become a host. You will make a couple of Swedish friends as well. Wrap up, okay? Networking is as important, if not more important, than your CV and cover letter. If you have excellent grades and you have no network, you don't have much chance. Let me give you some tough love. Be genuinely interested and authentic. Even if it means you're going to disagree with people, if you're authentic, those who matter and are mature enough will understand, appreciate, and respect that. Don't worry about being authentic. Break the ice and keep it melting for at least 5 minutes. You need to break the ice. They won't do it for you. At first, you have to kiss a lot of frogs. It's going to be uncomfortable at the beginning. Quite uncomfortable. But remember, a person's success in life can often be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations they're willing to have. Think and act win-win. Don't use the network unless you really need it. Then you can count on the help. People will help you at that time. Join, propose, use LinkedIn, Swedish is like food or oxygen. Differentiate yourself in charm. Most are not. Most are generic and predictable. With your CV, walking around, talking for 1 minute, and then CV pushing, doesn't work. If you want your CV to end up in the trash, but you don't want to. Be smart. You are already smart. Be smart in these tiny things as well. Focus on 1 or 2 activities every month. Do not try to join 50 groups in 1 month. That will tire you until you find your favorite. And this is one of my all-time favorite quotes. Forgive others, not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. This is from Zoroaster, a Persian prophet. If it doesn't happen, if you can't make a connection with someone, if they give you a cold shoulder, don't take it personal. It's their loss. Maybe they've had a bad day, maybe they're not in a good mood. Could be multiple reasons. It's not you. Don't take it personal. Get comfortable making mistakes. I got comfortable making mistakes. I think the main way I got into this was through quickly forgiving other people, and then I could quickly forgive my own mistakes, and so I got comfortable trying out new things, experimenting and making mistakes. Learn, get up, do it again. Swedes are waiting for you. They may not say it, but they are waiting for you to open them up. Okay, good luck cracking the shell.